I'm Indigenous.
I am Indigenous.
I am Indigenous.
I'm Indigenous.
I am 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 Indigenous.
What it means to be Indigenous is to have pride, to have humility, to have honesty, to have truth and wisdom, to have bravery, to be proud and be truthful, and to walk in a good way.
Being Indigenous to me means being proud of who I am, helping my community especially, and just really bringing people together and having that sense of family and community and commitment to each other to really raise each other up.
Indigenous to me is being culturally connected.
I guess it just means to be strong and to know where you come from.
I come from a people that have been on this continent forever, since it was here, and that it makes me proud that I am here and that I come from a strong people and know that my ancestors have fought and prayed that I could still be here.
I am proud to be Indigenous because, and this is a little unpalatable sometimes to hear, but we survived a genocide. I mean, it was an attempted genocide to take out every last one of our people, and we're still here. And not only are we here, we're thriving, and we don't hold that against anyone. We just want to continue living and growing.
I always think about my ancestors and how strong they were, like going through all the trauma, the basically genocide that they had to go through, and still to be able to survive and be here. And here I am.
We were attempted at being wiped out, you know. A lot of our culture is lost. There's very few people who are still speaking our language, who are still practicing our ceremonial ways, and it's like, it's better that we all learn, because if you don't know where you are, who you come from, it's like, who are you?
I think one of the things that I stress a lot when I speak about this is how important it is to recognize that we're a living culture. So when people think about Indigenous people on the continent of North America, sometimes they get locked into the past. And so they see us as this static community that still exists the way that we may have lived and existed hundreds of years ago. And yet, you know, we have Native American astronauts and Indigenous artists and politicians, and in every corner of the world, that's where we exist, and we're still here, and we're still growing and changing.
We don't come in just one type of way. Every Indigenous person is different, and they have different ideas and different beliefs and different wants and needs, and they come in every shape, color, size, and that, you know, we're modern too, you know. We're not all super traditional. We can be whatever, and that they shouldn't try to put us in one box.
I think it's important just to recognize who was really here first, because at the end of the day, that's true. We were, and it's important to recognize that, you know, we still are here.
It's important for other people to understand that they're walking amongst Indigenous people, that the culture is still alive, and that other people should also learn to understand and respect that. It's not just a history book.
Things I'd like to see in school is see some more recognition of our culture, which is already starting to happen throughout the schools. I'd envision seeing more people respect our culture and letting us express it more.
It is so imperative for our little ones and our elders to keep our circles strong with our language and our history.
Learning about our language from our elders, it's awesome.
The personal impact for me to learn the start of our language, it's been a life changer.
I go to POWs and the dancing makes me feel good about myself.
I go in powwows and I've been to them thousands upon thousands of times.
Activities I do to celebrate is going to powwows and like gatherings and ceremonies. It makes me feel proud and happy because I get a chance to participate in it.
In our schools, it is so important to have different things that it would emulate a strong Native person. Hearing that language being spoke in our classroom, whether it's just a hello or see you later. Having a smudge bowl or that buffalo hide there speaks to our babies in ways that maybe are nonverbals and can get them back online.
I hope that one day that all of our languages, not just mine and from my tribe, but all of our languages, we can just speak it, you know, to each other and communicate, and that it'll become our main language again.
Hopes for future generations is that they're going to just thrive and live and to continue on with culturals and language and to carry on their traditions so that they can carry it on to future generations.
If you're a Native kid who knows that they're Native and you aren't proud about it and you aren't open about it, that you should be, because being Indigenous is something that's really cool and that we should all be very proud of, and we should all be very open about practicing our traditions and our beliefs and our practices, and especially our language.
It's imperative to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day with excitement and energy and warmth, and it is a complete celebration of our people.
I believe it's important to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day and just enjoy being Indigenous.
It's important to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day because to let our voices be heard and show we're still here even after all the things that have been done and taken away from us.
It's incredibly important to recognize that day because for a long time it was celebrated in a different fashion. And so with that, we were made to be invisible. We were brought into the conversation as a secondary citizens or secondary character in the story. And when we change that narrative and shift that to Indigenous Peoples Day, we make us the primary, which I think is very, very important. This is our home. This is where we're from and this is who we are. And I think that recognizing that and celebrating that is very, very important.
To me, Indigenous Peoples Day is every day. I mean, I guess growing up, I never knew there were other Indigenous cultures except Lakota. I thought we were the only ones here, but we're not. But I think it's special that they can set aside a day where they do honor the Indigenous peoples of this country, and other people who come into this country know that Indigenous people, Native Americans, are still here.
I am Indigenous.
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 We are still here.
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 We're still here.
We are still here.
We are still here.
We're still here.
We are still here. We are still here.
We're still here.
We are 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 still here.
When